Here are the top stories for today, February 9, 2022. President Rodrigo Duterte says he is not supporting any presidential bet at this time. The ruling party PDP Laban meanwhile hopes the next leader will continue Duterte's agenda of change. Close to 10,000 kids aged 5 to 11 get jabbed against COVID-19 during the rollout of the vaccines as the country gears up for the third edition of the National Vaccination Drive tomorrow and on Friday. National ID in full swing, government offices are directed to prepare for the full implementation of the Philippine identification system aimed at making transactions smoother and faster. And promoting education against insurgency, a former hotbed of the New People's Army is now the site of learning facilities in Davao de Oro. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte is not supporting any presidential candidate in the upcoming May 2022 elections. He said he would announce which candidate he would endorse only if there is a compelling reason to change his mind.
Wala akong almost all of the candidates in one way or the other communicated to me na makipag-usap, hingi ng suporta. I may, in the end, if I see that it would be my advice and maybe endorsement would help kung kailangan. But at this time, I am saying that I'm not supporting anybody. Gusto ko kasi maglabas na puro ko kaibigan. Unless there is a compelling reason really for me to change my mind and decide to support a candidate. But until now, wala akong nakikita na danger. May iba kasi dyan na may ideology ang nakasabit eh.
Meanwhile, Cabinet Secretary and Acting Presidential Spokesperson Carlo Nograles said consensus building and discussions among officials are still ongoing. But while the ruling PDP Laban party has yet to endorse a presidential candidate for the upcoming polls, the party says it will only endorse the presidential candidate who would continue the legacy programs of President Duterte, such as the Build, Build, Build program, free education, universal health care, free irrigation, barangay development program, and the whole-of-nation approach to end local communist armed conflict. The party also wants to pursue the federal system, the return of a two-party system, lifting of the restrictive economic provisions of the 1987 Constitution, and the implementation of the anti-political dynasty provision. PDP Laban has earlier adopted Duterte's daughter, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte, for vice president. COMELEC officers in the provinces are up and above in ensuring the successful turnout of the 2022 national elections. The details from Marita Mawari.
In Negros Oriental, COMELEC sets a series of training for technicians and teachers on the use of the vote counting machines. This is in preparation for the May 9 national and local polls. COMELEC's Provincial Election Supervisor Designate Lawyer Leonel Marco Castellano says the training for technicians will be from February 21 to 27, while the training for the Electoral Board will be on March 7 to 29. In Cebu City, COMELEC guidelines and local policies have been disseminated to the police personnel in the city. The local police advised political rally organizers to abide by the COMELEC rules and ordinances, particularly the protocols for gatherings. So far, the local police said it has not received any report on private armed groups that would warrant a request for augmentation force. And in Soc-Sargent, Comelec Region 12 Director Renato Magbutay said they will work closely with the Philippine National Police in ensuring the safety of the electorate and preserving the sanctity of the ballots. He said no election will ever be successful without the partnership between the Comelec and the law enforcement agencies, especially since the country will hold its first pandemic election. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muaje.
Albay Representative Joey Salceda is urging the Department of Social Welfare and Development to submit a petition to the Commission on Elections to exempt their department from the ban on public spending during the national campaign period. Under Section 2 of the Comelec Resolution number 10747, no public official or employee, including barangay officials and those of government-owned controlled corporations and their subsidiaries, shall release, disburse, or expend any public funds. The public spending ban from March to May 2022 includes DSWD and other offices in other departments of the government performing functions similar to the said department. Salceda said the prohibition has an exemption clause that could allow the disbursement of funds under social amelioration programs such as the Aid for Individuals in Crisis Situations and the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. The lawmakers stressed the need to ensure that the emergency financial assistance programs of the DSWD will continue to be distributed to the neediest individuals and families, adding that the country cannot afford a slowdown in emergency and crisis aid. Salceda assured DSWD Secretary Rolando Bautista that he will support the petition as co-chair of the House Economic Stimulus and Recovery Cluster. The Cordillera Administrative Region, or CAR, is now under the moderate risk classification for coronavirus transmission as it posted a negative 2-week growth rate. The areas under the moderate risk level are Baguio City with a negative 62 2-week growth rate, Abra with a negative 29%, Benguet with negative 39%, Ifugao with negative 23%, and Kalinga with negative 62%. The region's hospital care utilization rate is at low risk at 36.10%. Meanwhile, only 2 provinces in the region remain at high risk. These are Apayao with a 5% 2-week growth rate and Mountain Province with a 1% 2-week growth rate. The rollout of the government's Res Bakuna Kids program has been successful. The pilot inoculation drive for kids aged 5 to 11 years old yielded over 9,700 individuals on its first day last Monday. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere reports a total of 9,784 children have so far been vaccinated against COVID-19 across its 32 vaccination sites. Of all the children inoculated, she said only 1 child reported a mild or non-serious reaction following inoculation. The program aims to vaccinate a total of 15,564,305 children within the age bracket. Meanwhile, the Bicol region is also preparing for the 3rd national government vaccination campaign against COVID-19. Bicol targets to vaccinate 266,340 individuals starting tomorrow until February 10 until Friday, February 11. There is no schedule yet in the region for the vaccination of the youngest age group. Starting tomorrow, only fully vaccinated foreign nationals coming from over 150 countries are allowed to enter the country without a visa. The Bureau of Immigration clarified as the government is slowly easing its COVID-19 restrictions. Under Executive Order number 408, nationals from 157 countries may be admitted into the country without a visa for an initial stay of 30 days. The nations include Canada, Japan, Singapore, the United States, New Zealand, Malaysia, and South Korea. Foreign tourists who are coming from countries not listed under the EO will need to secure a 9A visa and an entry exemption document through any of the Philippine embassies or consulates abroad. All foreigners entering the country are required to present the appropriate proof of full vaccination. Arriving alien tourists are also required to present a negative RT-PCR test taken at least 48 hours before they departed from their country of origin. a return ticket, a passport valid for at least 6 months, and a travel and health insurance for COVID-19 with a minimum coverage of $35,000 valid for the entire duration of their stay. Former Filipinos are qualified to avail of the one-year balikbayan privilege, but they also have to be fully vaccinated before they could enter the country. President Rodrigo Duterte thanked His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates or UAE for his country's assistance to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the Philippines. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed is the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces. President Duterte extended his gratitude to the Crown Prince in a telephone conversation. He said he appreciates the assistance provided by the UAE, such as the 7 metric tons of medical supplies, personal protective equipment, and 100,000 doses of Hayat Vax vaccines that boosted vaccination in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. The president congratulated the UAE on its 50th founding anniversary and expressed appreciation for the care and concern for the almost 600,000 Filipinos residing in the UAE. The Crown Prince meanwhile assured President Duterte that the UAE government will continue to take care of Filipino nationals residing in the country in the best way it can. Both President Duterte and the Crown Prince renewed their commitment to further strengthen the Philippines-UAE bilateral relations. Still ahead, the MMDA's officer in charge vows to continue key programs started by its then chair, Ben-Hur Abalos. And boosting agriculture, TESDA is adding 2 farming-related courses to its offerings. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Nais mo bang bumalik at magsimula ng panibagong buhay sa inyong probinsya? May solusyon dyan. Bisitahin ang balikprobinsya.ph upang mag-apply. Pero ano nga ba ang Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program o mas kilala bilang BP2? Ang programang ito ay binuo ng gobyerno mula sa EO 114 na naglalayong matugunan ang lumulobong populasyon at pagsikip ng mga residential area sa NCR. Layunin rin ng BP2 na makapagbigay ng pantay na oportunidad sa mga Pilipinong magbabalik probinsya. Ligtas at libre kang makakabalik sa inyong probinsya sa tulong ng BP2. May kasama pang tulong pinansyal at oportunidad para makapagsimula ng pangkabuhayan. Bagong pag-asa ang hatid ng Balik Probinsya program. Kaya naman ano pang hinihintay mo? Mag-register na sa balikprobinsya.ph.
MMDA Officer in Charge General Manager Romando Artes assures he will continue the priority projects including the COVID-19 vaccination started by his predecessor Ben-Hur Abalos Jr. Artes said he discussed the MMDA's projects and programs with Abalos before the latter resigned to join presidential aspirant Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. as his national campaign manager.
Nag-usap naman po kami ni Chairman Abalos bago po siya tuluyang nagbitiw. Marami po siyang ibinilin sa akin. Sa totoo lang po, sa loob po ng higit isang taon lamang na panunungkulan niya sa MMDA, tinrain naman niya po ako. Tinuro niya po lahat ng magandang gawain para mas maging maayos ang ahensya. At nailatag naman po niya yung mga programang dapat gawin. So, pagpapatuloy ko lang po siguro yung mga programang ito. Sa ngayon po, ang priority po ng MMDA ay yung pedia vaccination po.
Malacanang also expressed its gratitude to Abalos for his invaluable service to the Duterte administration.
We wish Attorney Abalos all the best and Godspeed. Hintayin na lang po natin kung any appointments or kung may i-appoint si Pangulong Duterte para sa MMDA chair. In the meantime, ang OIC po natin ay sa Ang OIC natin sa MMDA ay si Attorney Romando Artes.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, has identified a total of 109 public schools in the province of Bulacan that are ready to hold physical classes on February 21. The 4 schools division offices in Bulacan, or SDOs, are given the clearance to proceed with the in-person classes in basic education. 26 of the participating schools are in the city of San Jose del Monte, 13 in Malolos City, 7 in Meycauayan City, and the rest in other areas. Zenia Mostoles, Schools Division Superintendent of Bulacan, said the SDOs have continuously prepared for the face-to-face classes through the assessment, validation, inspection, and provision of technical assistance to the schools. Education Secretary Leonor Briones earlier authorized all regional directors to start the progressive expansion phase of face-to-face classes for both public and private schools. Malacanang has directed all government agencies, offices, as well as local government units to prepare for the implementation and integration of the Philippine Identification System, or PhilSys. Memorandum Circular Number 95, signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, recognizes the urgent need to ensure that the PhilSys is properly integrated into the government systems. The memo said that covered agencies must prioritize PhilSys integration to enable the use of PhilSys-enabled services, including authentication, processes, and proper controls for the PhilID. PhilSys information shall be protected from unauthorized access, use, and disclosure, and against loss, destruction, or damage. The Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, is directed to support related agencies in the planning, analysis, integration, piloting, and scaling of use cases. It must also ensure that all information databases and systems must be synchronized to facilitate interoperability, ensure efficient and more reliable transactions, and secure access to information and services. The Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, is offering free training in 2 courses tailored for farmers interested in the Rice Extension Services Program, or RESP. Secretary Isidro La Peña said TESDA has been offering 6 courses under the RESP, the latest of these being Pest and Nutrient Management and Digital Agricultural course. La Peña revealed that these are the areas that contribute to the farmer's yield and income based on a baseline survey conducted in 2020. He said offering the additional courses is TESDA's response to the survey and another way to help the rice farmers. For 2022, TESDA is eyeing to open 50,000 scholarship slots for courses under the RESP. La Peña encourages rice farmers listed under the registry system for basic sectors in agriculture to avail of various free courses offered under the RESP. Over 4,700 farmer beneficiaries in Negros Occidental received certificates of land ownership award from the Department of Agrarian Reform in Sipalay City on Tuesday. The recipients from 17 municipalities and cities were awarded 4,729 hectares of agricultural lands under the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, or CARP. DAR Secretary Bernie Cruz said he hopes having land titles would be the start of a better life for farmer beneficiaries with assistance from DAR and the local government. DAR Western Visayas Regional Director Sheila Enciso said the beneficiaries, particularly those from Sipalay City who were greatly affected by Typhoon Odette last December, will be able to build their homes on the land awarded to them. Sipalay City Mayor Maria Gina Lizares also congratulated them for receiving land titles and reminded them to take good care of the awarded land. Farmers of Kamalig Town in Albay received 5,000 pesos in cash each for the Department of Agriculture. About 1,600 farmers received the cash aid on Monday and Tuesday under the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. Rice Farmers Financial Assistance Program, or RCEF-RRFA. Farmers who have in the registry system for basic sector in agriculture, which also serves as proof that they own a rice field area, are the ones who are qualified to receive the cash assistance. The distribution of the cash assistance began in Tabaco City on January 24 and is expected to finish within this month. Under Republic Act number 11230 or the Tulong Trabaho Act, the RCEF-RFFA will help and support local farmers boost productivity through sustainable strategies. Up next, hope for a peaceful polls. The Catholic Church begins its prayer campaign for the May 9 elections. And heads up, dog owners in Baguio, you might get in trouble for failing to properly take care of your fur babies. More stories when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Kung customer ka, pupuntahan mo ba yung mukhang safe naman o yung certified na safe? Ang safety seal ay patunay na certified safe ang iyong business dahil nasusunod ang minimum public health standards. Meron din itong QR code para mapadali ang contact tracing. Ito ay libre lang. Pero, kailangang i-renew every 6 months or every year kung nasa tourism sector ang iyong business. Kung meron ka ng mga documents na ito, pwede ka na mag-apply para sa Safety Seal Certification. May iba-ibang office para sa iba't ibang klase ng mga negosyo. Pag na-determine nyo na ang issuing authority, simple lang ang steps para makuha ang safety seal. Pumunta sa office ng issuing authority o sa kanilang website. Kumuha ng safety seal checklist at magsagawa ng self-assessment para sa iyong business. I-submit ang checklist at abangan ang inspection schedule. Pag na-approve ang application, bibigyan kayo ng safety seal sticker. Pag hindi naman na-approve, sasabihin kung anong health standard ang hindi nasunod at bibigyan kayo ng pagkakataong ayusin ito. Pag nakuha na ang safety seal, ipaskil ito sa may entrance para makita agad ng mga customer. Pwede nyo rin ipagmalaki na certified safe kayo sa inyong mga social media pages. Paalala lamang, ang isang safety seal ay para sa isang branch lang. Siguraduhin bawat branch mo ay certified safe. Siguraduhin din na nasusunod palagi ang minimum public health standards dahil baka mabawi ang iyong certification. Maaring mag-operate kahit na walang safety seal. Pero hindi ba mas mahalagang kampante ang mga customer sa loob ng iyong negosyo? Kaya kumuha na ng safety seal para ingat-angat tayong lahat.
The Catholic Church on Tuesday started its prayer drive for the candidates who are running for national positions in the May polls. In a Facebook post, the Manila Cathedral said the clergy and the faithful have started its Prayer Power campaign, which coincided with the beginning of the 90-day campaign period for national posts. The church said the prayer campaign aims for a peaceful, credible, and transparent elections. It prayed that the faithful would choose leaders according to Christian values and teachings, and that the Catholic faith guide the country's politics. The prayer was earlier created by the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting and supported by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, or CBCP. The provincial government of Davao de Oro has started the construction of a single-story, two-classroom building in a former haven of New People's Army rebels. The local government said the initial target to finish and turn over the school building in far-flung Sitio Tagbawi, Barangay Rizal, Moncayo is on March 4. In 2017, the sitio withdrew from supporting the communist NPA and became one of the pilot communities to benefit from the Oplan Pagbabago program of the provincial government. Governor J.V. Tyrone Uy said the initiative is a product of the province's culture of bayanihan through Bayanihan sa Paaralan program, where volunteers from the Department of Education, the Army, the provincial government, and other private partners go hand in hand for its completion. He also vowed to implement more projects in the barangay, including a solar dryer, farm-to-market road, and a water system that will be utilized by local farmers. The military continues to prove the decline of the communist movement as 2 more new People's Army rebels voluntarily surrendered to the government forces in Lebak, Sultan Kudarat. The 2 rebels identified themselves as members of the Dragon Fruit Platoon, NPA East Daguma Front, Sub-Regional Committee Daguma, Far South Mindanao Region. With the surrender of the 2 NPAs, the number of communist rebels who have surrendered to authorities in the province rose to more than 30 since January 1. Brigadier General Eduardo Gov't, 603rd Infantry Brigade Commander, said the surrender of former combatants was the result of the relentless efforts of the 37th Infantry Battalion with the strong support of the local government unit. On Sunday, 2 NPAs operating in Tiboli, South Cotabato also yielded to Army troops. Earlier on February 4, 6 communist rebels, including 2 field commanders, also surrendered to the 37 IB in Lebak town. Animal welfare advocates in Baguio City have lauded the city government for approving a resolution allowing its legal office to file charges against erring dog owners. The fervent animal rescue and advocacy group said the Baguio City Pound has been taking custody of dogs let loose by irresponsible owners. It said that for more than a year, they have been rescuing countless dogs that were abandoned and neglected by their owners. The group said it will push for the creation of an adoption facility once fewer dogs are impounded at the City Pound. The City Legal Office is authorized to take legal action against violators of Ordinance Number 19, Series of 2021, or the Responsible Dog Ownership Ordinance of Baguio City. The ordinance requires dog owners to have a pet only if they have the means to look after them. Other responsibilities are submitting them for registration and vaccination, providing them with grooming, food and shelter, maintaining control of them, and preventing them from causing harm to others. The House of Representatives commended a renowned eye surgeon for conquering the World Marathon Challenge in February 2020. Cebu 5th District Representative Duke Frasco personally handed over to Larazabal a mounted copy of House Resolution Number 203, Series of 2021, which recognizes his feat. Larazabal thanked Congress for adopting the resolution, saying it is such a great motivation to continue promoting the sport he loves and a reminder to support all types of sports in the country. The World Marathon Challenge comprised of 7 marathons in 7 continents to be completed within 7 days. Larazabal earned the privilege of joining the unique 7 Continents Marathon Club, which consists of athletes who have run a marathon within the Antarctic Circle in the Antarctica continent and other 6 continents. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. President Rodrigo Duterte says he is not supporting any presidential bet at this time. The ruling party PDP Laban meanwhile hopes the next leader will continue Duterte's agenda of change. Close to 10,000 kids aged 5 to 11 get jabbed against COVID-19 during the rollout of the vaccines as the country gears up for the 3rd edition of the National Vaccination Drive tomorrow and on Friday. National ID in full swing, government offices are directed to prepare for the full implementation of the Philippine identification system aimed at making transactions smoother and faster. And promoting education against insurgency, a former hotbed of the New People's Army is now the site of learning facilities in Davao de Oro. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.